The show in general is about a girl who moves to New York City and ends up becoming a nanny on the Upper East Side for this high-profile couple. And they have these 4 kids, 3 of whom are adopted. So not only is she kind of discovering herself and 18 and now unleashed upon the world and an adult and figuring herself out, she's accountable for these 4 kids with 4 different personalities and 4 different cultures and a 10-foot lizard or a 7-foot lizard, 7 feet. It feels like 10 feet in the nightmares I have at night. It's 7-foot lizard and imaginary friends, and one of them's always like running off, one of them's pulling pranks, and then they're fighting. It's a bit chaotic, but it's cool. It's a very family-oriented, but very 2011 family. It's kind of about the blended family and how you don't necessarily have to have someone's blood in your veins to make it family. And my character, Jessie, she's 18, so she has graduated high school and she's, free upon the world, so she's finding herself. And in New York City, I feel like it's easy to not necessarily get lost, but be very absorbed in it. And she really remains true to who she is, which is kind of she lives in she grew up on a military base, so she has a bit of like special ops toughness in her, but she is so like strong and kind of resourceful and smart that she doesn't necessarily need to flaunt it. She can kind of deal with things as they come up, but things get a little chaotic first. She's not used to taking care of these 4 kids and all of their madness, so no one ever burns the house down, but definitely things get a bit crazy before she can kind of wrangle everything back into shape.
Me, and I play Emma. She's kind of a fashionista, and she at first is kind of skeptical of Jessie moving to town, and then she learns to love her. Emma is very bubbly and helpful once you get to know her. She's definitely, lets her colors show, her true colors show, and she's a great girl.
Well, my character is Ravi, and he just moved from India like a month ago, so he's very attached to his Indian culture. So he's religious, he dresses like his character, like how he did in India, and he's sort of trying to get into being a rich person and having like the most famous adults in like history to be his parents. So he's trying to get used to that, and what you'll be expecting is he's learning and growing, and he will sometimes have great adventures, and he can go crazy at times.
I am the Lukester. Luke. He's the prankster, the one who's always hitting on girls, the one who's always making a mess, causing a fuss, all this other sort of stuff. He's definitely the one that you have to look out for.
Zuri is a 7-year-old girl. She came from Africa. She was adopted, and she's very fashionable. She loves her fashion. She loves tutus, and she loves to dress up like a princess.
I play Bertram, who is the family butler, and he is he has seen a lot of nannies come and go, and when Jessie arrives, he's kind of wary of her. He's seen all these kids grow up, and he sort of is the cynic in the family and doesn't really, he's not a fan of kids, and so he's sort of the perfect foil for Jessie, and is a frenemy, and he sort of becomes the butt of a lot of jokes in the long line of tradition in Disney. The adults are always abused and used. I get paintballed, I get fruit salad thrown at me, I fall a lot. They have a crash pad with my name on it here, so I'm doing a lot of stunts.
In the first episode of Jessie, you get to see a little bit of bond between Jessie and Emma. At first, she's a little bit skeptical, but then she, gets to love her, and they warm up to each other.
Working with the lizard is so much fun because Ravi, he didn't get to bring like all his belongings and all that, and the only thing he could get was his lizard, Mr. Kipling. So he had him since he was like an egg, and then it's grown up and it's been with him. So it's so precious with him, and no matter what, he'll never leave Mr. Kipling. And working with Frank, the lizard, is so much fun. It's awesome. I've never dealt with anything like this.
Oh my gosh. Well, Mr. Kipling is a little bit of a prima donna, let me say, because he cannot perform in front of a live audience, and he has to, because he gets so nervous and he pees in front of everybody, and he actually doesn't really like me either. He hisses at me. He's the only cast member, I have to say, that I'm not really friends with. So.
Oh my gosh. Actually, I haven't done a lot of stuff with Frank yet. By the way, his name's Frank.
Yeah.
But he's 7 feet of long reptilian lizard.
He looks
I
pretty
mean,
big, yeah.
He's huge. He's probably taller than me if he stood on his legs. I mean, it's just insane. He's definitely crazy. You know, he's doing a bunch of, he's pranking people, just like you, Luke. I mean, he's whacking his tail off Jesse's ice cream. He's getting into the elevator, pushing the button. He's whacking me in the head. You know,
Lizard is very big and fat in belly. Yes, but he's not that scary. Like, you'll get used to him. Like, when I first met him, I was pretty scared. At least we're not allowed to touch him, you know. So it's pretty good with the lizard. You know, he's a good actor for a lizard, you know.
Mr. Kipling, better known as Frank, that's his real stage name, is a 7-foot water monitor lizard, Japanese water monitor lizard, and he is a mini dinosaur, basically. And I have, for some reason, the writers love to put me with him.
Aww.
And I have an episode where he's grown attached to me, literally. And,
How much fun was that?
That was really fun and really scary. He's got a very sharp tail, I've learned. I danced with him. I've had him spit up on me.
It's really fun when you're like right next to him. I've tried to have a conversation, so I'll be like, "How have you been doing? Lift your tail if you're having fun."
Does he lift his tail?
I can't tell if he can understand English. I don't know if he has ears. I think my favorite episode was where we see, it's called Used Karma, and it's the conflict between Luke and Ravi, and it just sees the differences and similarities and like what not to do and how to react. And it's between, like, Jesse sort of tells Ravi what not to do and how to handle situations and what's wrong from right. So it really shows the bond between Luke and Ravi.
I'm gonna have to say there's one called Used Karma, where I am pulling pranks on Robbie, and he's telling me, you know, your karma is gonna come back around. You're gonna, you know, have bad experiences, and he ends up pulling pranks on me just to make me quit it. So I'm getting bird poop on myself all over the place. I'm getting rained on, all this other sort of stuff, and it's just insane, like what Robbie puts me through to prove a point. It's really funny. It's a good episode.
Bad Karma was the best. It was very fun to do. It was like Robbie, me, and Cameron. We had our little pranks on him, and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna get revenge," and he did. We went into his lair where we are right now in the screening room, and it was very fun to shoot.
I would say Jesse is Emmy worthy. Jesse, it's just a great. I mean, watching it is like you have your most of the cultures, you know, crazy different cultures, all different places, all different characters. You have the lazy one, you have the smart one, you have the intelligence, you have the prankster, all of this stuff, and the loving and caring of the nanny, plus what we bring, which is, you know, the comedy of the show, which is,
I would like to say it's not like every other Disney Channel show. We have a giant lizard, we have a flirt, and we have a drama queen.
Cool.
So nothing like the ordinary Disney Channel show.
Come to watch the show because it's very different. You know, Debbie Ryan, she has a lot of acting skills, and you won't like our characters. It's like people are really not, like, adults and teenagers, like older people are not really into Disney that much, but adults would love to watch this show, Jessie.
And
I would say that if you have kids, it's a wonderful show to watch with your family. There's something for everyone in this. There's low humor and high humor. There's lizards. There's slapstick comedy, and there's really fun banter written by a very smart group of writers. And if you're an adult like me, it's also very entertaining. I think it's one of the most grown-up shows Disney Channel's ever produced. It's the first time they've ever had an adult protagonist.